That's right. And there again, you could choose to use. You can choose the melodic minor. Or you can choose to use harmonic minor, and that's quite a good choice actually. I think that sounds quite pleasing.
Mm. So you mean they're both equally applicable?
Yeah, oh, and applicable in different ways probably. Like I suppose actually uh, the thing that I like about the harmonic minor is it seems to be able to work over the entire 251.
Right.
So that certainly seems to work to my ears. If you do harmonic minor, then of course, sorry, if you do melodic minor, I'm doing
Yeah.
the same thing as you now. Um, of course, it then introduces the F sharp in there, which is not usually part of the minor 251.
Okay.
You lose that kind of general darkness of feel. So most of the time, people use the melodic minor scale over, or the altered scale over the dominant chord, right?
Hmm.
So are you aware of which melodic minor I'm playing over E7, for instance?
No, I'm not. Melodic minor over a dominant chord.
Yes, that would be well. It's what you've been saying, right? It's the seventh mode of a melodic minor scale is the altered scale.
Right.
So let's see if I can try and nail this down because it's you're using the melodic minor for the tonic chord, right? So if I'm in A minor, I'm going to be using A melodic minor,
Yeah.
and that one works definitely over the resolution chord. But if I wanted to use that over the 2-5 section of the scale, I wouldn't be using A melodic minor any longer. I'd be using, well, the E altered scale, which happens to come from F melodic minor.
Right.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
making any sense?
The two five that we're talking about here is B half diminished E7 to A minor.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
I'm saying I would need to, with the E altered scale, I need to change the scale that I'm using for the one chord, right? So I
Right.
have like a dominant section,
Right.
which is me playing my melodic minor stuff, or the altered scale, and then I need a new scale here. I'm not going to continue using um, E
On the A
altered
minor
at that
chord.
point. I'm going to be using probably an A melodic minor. I use two scales, right? I could probably
Right.
write that down in Spadis in a second. Whereas the harmonic minor has the advantage that I feel I can play it over the whole thing because it's got this F in it. It's got the minor sixth from the tonic. I haven't changed scale there.
No.
I've done the whole 251 using one scale. Might be worth sketching that out.
So that doesn't make it diminished, does it?
Nothing in
That,
that particular chord. No, there's nothing to say that it's not diminished.
that's an interesting thought. No, nothing to say it's not diminished. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, uh, but so that's a revelation to me. I tend to be a bit kind of dogmatic about these things. So I know that if you don't include a key um, part of the voicing, then the chord doesn't have the character that you think it has.
Hmm.
But is the principle is that you're keeping it open, and that character may be simply sketched in by what you do with your right hand.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's something I'm quite aware of when I'm comping for people as well, particularly if I'm not quite sure what they're wanting to use on their soloing quite yet. I'd go down to just using root third and seventh or third and seventh, because those are the only two things that are going to remain constant. Those define the chord.
Right.
Everything else is colouring. So yeah, if I'm unsure, I play that, and so I really listen to them. And see, then once I feel I've worked out what they're doing, then maybe I add the colours to support them.
Right. So this just makes things a little easier, doesn't it? I mean, because it just means that you've got to think flexibly,
Hmm.
and have in your mind a little map of what does and doesn't make up the chord correctly.
That's right. Yep. Yep. No, true. Because there's lots of things that are shared between scales anyway, right? For instance, the diminished and the altered scales are the same. Their starts are the same. The first four notes, and then they're different at the top.
Yeah.
Um, so certain pitches will work over both chord qualities.
When you play a sus chord, you're actually emphasizing the avoid note.
You kind of are, yeah, but the emphasis then becomes on the four rather than on the third. You don't actually want to hear the third so much.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah. And you often
music.
don't play the third.
Yeah, so but there are very very many sus chord voicings, of course. That's a pretty common one in fourths, root, four, seven, and I've got no third in there.
Right.
But if you're Herbie Hancock, then often comes up with sounds like that, right? Where you've got
Right.
the third above it and you've got the fourth down there. Usually, though, what they is less common is this kind of voicing. Some people use it, but that's the one that's got the four on the top and the third
Mm.
on the bottom, and
Right.
it sounds more like a cloudy major chord or a dominant chord than a sus chord. That one still maintains the sus sound to me
Right.
because it's sort of using the fourth as like the guide tone. You know that concept that your guide tone notes, your chord tone
Yes.
notes, come first, and then my extensions are built over the top. Well,
Right.
in a sus chord, I want the fourth to be a guide tone. So a chord tone, I put that there, and then this one becomes a color. And
Mm.
actually, I might do. That's a really sweet sounding sus voice. Make some sense?
Man, that's beautiful. Thank you very much indeed.